I showed my husband a stupid joke, he got angry and stormed out. Turns out, he's been cheating on me for a long time. Hi everyone. I'm usually just a lurker on Instagram, so this is my first post here. Honestly, I never thought I'd be writing something like this, because my relationship with my husband, he's 30, I'm 27, has always been great. Sure, we have small arguments like any couple, but overall it's been a dream. We got married in April 2021, and everything's been smooth ever since. Earlier today we got home from a casual lunch with our friends who just got engaged, let's call them Kai and Marie. It was nice, but nothing special. The real highlight was the amazing pasta we brought home, which I'm currently destroying because it's way too cold for ice cream. We live in a tiny apartment, so my husband went to shower first while I put the leftovers in the fridge. I went in after him, finished showering, and squeezed some lotion into my hand. I accidentally squeezed out too much and wiped off the extra. After I put it on my face, there was still some left on my finger, so I did what any perfectly reasonable person would do. I drew a little smiley face with spiky hair on my thumb. A lotion man. I walked out of the bathroom giggling and said something like, "Look. It's a lotion man." My husband didn't react. He just looked at my hand and blinked. So I kept going. I started using a silly voice, saying dumb things, throwing in our inside jokes. I rambled like that for about a minute, and then he just stood up and walked out. I was confused, still smiling, and jokingly asked where he was going. He has a huge pickup truck, and after a recent trip it's basically stocked with everything you'd need to live out of it for a couple weeks. So it didn't immediately register that he was actually leaving. Now I feel like a complete idiot for making such a stupid joke and just letting him walk out. I texted him a few times. He finally replied saying he was thinking about some things, and that he was at his brother Tyler's place. Since then, I've sent more messages, but he hasn't replied or even read them. He goes to bed early, so I probably won't hear from him tonight. His brother isn't responding either, so I just set my phone down and now I'm sitting here holding my breath. I don't think it's fully sunk in yet. I stared at the door for a solid 10 minutes before forcing myself to get up and text him again. We've been together for years. I always joke around, yeah, sometimes it's dumb. Now I feel ridiculous for turning this into a whole lotionman circus and not shutting up when he clearly wasn't reacting. And at the same time, I'm just completely confused. My husband has never left the house like this. Even during rough patches, at most we'd pause intimacy for a bit or talk less. I wasn't planning on getting into details about our sex life, but honestly, at this point I'm not filtering myself. I want to give him space, but it really hurts that he just walked out. And the thought of divorce is just, ugh. I don't even want to go there. Was my lotion man really that terrible of a mistake? Does anyone have advice on how I can get my husband to come home? First update. I followed your advice and gave him space. Your comments really made me question how accurate my picture of our perfect relationship actually was. I still genuinely believe that up until this point, things were really good between us. That said, you were right about some things and wrong about others, those of you who said it wasn't about the lotion. You were only partially wrong. The people who guessed something happened at lunch with our friends were spot on. My husband came back a couple of days ago. He apologized and said he was ready to talk. I agreed. I tried not to cling to him, but honestly, I missed him like hell. He's my husband. Here's what he told me. I mentioned before that we went out to lunch with our friends Kai, 30, and Marie, 29, who just got engaged. We all had a nice time, but people kept getting up to grab food. It was a buffet-style place, and the food was amazing. At some point, my husband and Marie went to get food together. Or maybe it was closer to the end. I remember chatting with Kai alone for a bit before they came back and we all headed to the car. Either way, they were alone together for a while. Marie, the fiancée, told my husband that when Kai proposed, she realized she was actually in love with him. Despite that, she accepted Kai's proposal and tried to get rid of her feelings by organizing that lunch. Apparently that didn't work. She asked my husband to run away with her. Or something along those lines. Bottom line, she wanted him to leave me and be with her. Marie is objectively very attractive, which honestly just makes me angrier. Blonde, blue eyes, super thin, model-like, kind of looks like Emma Watson. I do not. My husband says he gently turned her down and wished her well, but he admitted that he couldn't stop thinking about her afterward. We all went to college together, so there's history. Then, when I came out of the bathroom with the lotion man, towel on my head, old stretched out clothes, laughing at something stupid, everything apparently snapped for him. He said my immaturity hit him all at once, especially compared to how grown-up Marie suddenly seemed. That triggered a full-on panic about our relationship, and he went to his brother's place. He came back saying he loved me again. I just kind of froze. I asked a few questions and asked him to sleep on the couch for the night. He agreed, but I didn't sleep at all. I still can't believe he was seriously willing to throw away our relationship over a crush. The more I think about it, the harder it is to even look at him. We had Thanksgiving lunch with his family and friends, spent the night together, and I think he believes everything is fine now. And if I'm being honest, a part of me really does want to just forgive and forget. He'll be home from work in about 6 hours, and I genuinely have no idea what to do next. I'm off today, I'm a teacher, and these are the options I keep cycling through. A. Contact Kai and tell him what his fiancée did. My husband begged me not to, saying Marie just made a spontaneous mistake. B. Contact Marie, either yell at her for trying to blow up my marriage or attempt a calmer conversation, less appealing, but still an option. C. Call Tyler, my husband's brother, and ask if my husband ever left his place. Tyler lives very close to Marie, which is bothering me, though I doubt he'd tell me anything. D. Do all of the above. I'd really appreciate any advice, or even just kind words, because I feel absolutely awful right now. Legal stuff terrifies me, so divorce would be brutal, but it's starting to feel inevitable. I just want to forget all of this. Thank you, everyone. Second update. Hi everyone. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for the overwhelming support and all the kind messages. I honestly did not expect this response at all. A lot of you even messaged me privately, and I've had some really great conversations. It genuinely means so much to me how kind you all have been. I'm sorry I couldn't reply to everyone, I think my original post got taken down at some point. Some of you asked to see the lotion man, but I still haven't fully figured out how posting images works here. Once I do, I'll add it. A lot of you had really interesting theories, and surprisingly, most of them were at least partially right. The most common advice was to talk to everyone, my husband, Kai, Marie, and Tyler. Not necessarily in that order. So I had to be careful. Many of you warned me that someone might twist the story if they realized I was getting outside advice. And yeah, this whole situation is absolutely wild and doesn't fully make sense even to me. I'm still piecing everything together, and I definitely don't have every detail. None of us were exactly thinking clearly, so I know this probably sounds chaotic from the outside. But I'll do my best. When my husband came home, we talked. He mostly repeated the same story and said he was willing to go to couples therapy. I hugged him and started doing laundry. Normally we split chores, but I was keeping some distance, so I guess in his mind I wasn't watching closely. We've never been secretive about our phones, we know each other's passwords, but he definitely would have noticed if I suddenly started snooping. So I decided to start with Kai. A lot of you were worried he'd tell Marie and everything would blow up. Kai is really into the gym, and I'd been meaning to go anyway, so I used that as an excuse. He agreed. The next morning, I met Kai. We sat down, and I told him everything I knew. Yes, I cried like a child. At first, he tried to stay composed. He politely questioned parts of it, asked a few clarifying questions. Then he broke down too. Marie hadn't told him anything. That alone was a massive red flag. After that, Kai and I went to confront Marie together. Some of you advised extreme caution, so I did what one of you suggested and simply said, I know everything. She pretended not to understand at first, then completely caved. You were right. The story about Marie just sorting through her feelings was total bullshit. According to her, my husband started it. She said that before she fully committed to marrying Kai, my husband suggested the two of them have a threesome with another woman. And here's the kicker, Marie agreed. But it gets worse. Marie had apparently been cheating on Kai for a long time, with both men and women. My husband had also been cheating on me regularly. They covered for each other and sometimes even met up. At the last minute, Marie backed out of the threesome because she decided to be faithful now that she was engaged, as if she hadn't been cheating almost their entire relationship. My husband got angry. Spiraled. And that is when I showed him the lotion man. He snapped and left. Kai and Marie were screaming at each other, crying, faces red. I apologized for interfering in their relationship and told them I'd deal with my husband myself. Before sunset, I went to see Tyler. He confirmed my husband did come by, but not until around 11 p.m., and he left at 8 a.m. That leaves about 3 unaccounted for hours. Tyler said my husband was angry and didn't explain anything. I gave Tyler minimal context, just the lotionman part, and he guessed maybe my husband was just driving around to cool off. That didn't sound like my husband, but at that point, the future already looked terrible, so I didn't rule it out. I went home and checked my husband's phone. Nothing obvious. I wanted to dig deeper but decided to wait. Instead, I kept him busy all day. Remember how I said he goes to bed early? That worked in my favor. That night, once he was snoring, I took his phone again. I went through everything. Still nothing. I felt like I was missing something, and then I checked the hidden photos. Boom. Everything exploded. Nudes. Nudes. More nudes. All sent to the same woman. Not me. Not Marie. I didn't recognize her. I'll call her Allison, after a friend from 2nd grade who turned out to be a snake. Not her real name, I don't know it. She's stunning. Red hair. Hourglass body. Absolutely gorgeous. I traced the contact and there it was, proof. He'd been cheating since February. Just days before Valentine's Day, when I was planning a surprise for him, spending my paycheck, thinking I was the happiest woman alive. It hurt so badly I wanted to stop reading, but I forced myself to finish. On November 3rd, Allison was furious. She had just found out he was married. She was in love with him. You could feel bad for her, except she never once tried to contact me. And then my husband had a brilliant idea. He told Allison he'd bring his wife to a hotel to prove I was okay with him cheating. Sound familiar? I'm guessing when Marie canceled, he panicked. He begged Allison to come anyway, told her something came up, and that they'd meet another day. Then the lotionman happened. He blew up at me and left. I don't know where he went during those missing hours, but it doesn't look like he was with either of them. After that, he went to Tyler's, slept, and came home. After everything, I couldn't even pretend I loved him anymore. The next morning, I called Kai and Marie over. My husband cried, denied everything, and eventually admitted he has a thing for redheads. Marie is more strawberry blonde, Allison is bright red. He said it was the one desire I couldn't fulfill for him. Even I, who had been madly in love with him, could see right through his bullshit about loving only me and how cheating somehow made him love me more. I told him to go to hell and started packing. He begged. But even I knew it was over. Legally, the apartment is his, so I left. I'm staying with Kai now. He's hurting just as much as I am. We cried, hugged, said stupid things just to survive. He tried to cheer me up by cooking lunch, and honestly, he's an amazing cook. I showed him my previous posts. He laughed at some of your comments. As far as I know, my almost ex-husband is now with Marie. I truly don't care, if anything, it's oddly satisfying. It feels like a chapter closed. I'm no longer walking on eggshells. Tomorrow Kai and I are going to yoga to decompress and figure out next steps. We both took the day off. I'm sorting through finances and hoping to start the divorce process soon so I can finally call him my ex. I'm still a mess. Our photos are still on my desk. Our wedding wallpaper is still on my devices. My students will notice his sudden absence from my life, and I'll have to tell them that the man I used to talk about all the time is now someone I'm divorcing. I'll have to tell family and friends. Kai is my main support right now, and it hurts knowing we'll eventually have to go our separate ways. Housing. Divorce costs. Lawyers. Therapy. So much ahead. I can't believe I once thought this relationship was perfect. Thank you all. Truly. Your kindness and honesty quite literally saved my life. Both Kai and I would still be with cheaters if not for this place. I'll be back for advice. I've read everything. Yes, all of it. Author's comment, I've been reading through comments and I'm honestly overwhelmed by how many people responded. A few clarifications, nothing major has changed, it's only been a week since my last update. My husband and I briefly discussed divorce logistics. That's it. I'm healing, working, and taking it day by day. Ask me in a year, maybe I'll be better. About Allison, I haven't been able to contact her, though some of your advice really encouraged me to try again. About Kai and me, I know people are speculating. We're rebuilding our friendship. I don't think we'd work as a couple. He wants a quiet, child-free life. I want kids. He also has a very low libido. We're basically siblings at this point. I'm not ready to date, not even close. Is this fake? Haha, gotcha. I wish. Unfortunately, this is my life. If you don't believe me, that's fine. Hate messages won't change reality. My family is on my side. Most friends too, including mutual ones. I told my students, and they were incredibly supportive. I cleared my desk of reminders. Next step is clearing my head. About the lotion man, I tried to recreate him. I'll post a photo soon. Edit, here he is. If I missed anything, let me know. There are so many comments, I'm trying to keep up. I'm very busy right now, but I hope to talk to more of you this weekend. Third update. The final, absolute disaster. The Lotion Man, years later. Oh my god. That title is a mess. I'm sorry. I'll come up with something better when my brain starts working again. You know what time of year it is. If you have teacher friends, go check on them. LOL. Hi everyone. It's been a long time, but I finally logged back into this account and honestly, I don't even know where to start. The support is still coming in. Holiday wishes. Messages asking how I'm doing. It's unreal. I love the internet. You were all there for me during the darkest period of my life. I got dozens of messages asking for updates and sharing stories that were shockingly similar to mine. One woman told me her boyfriend blamed everything on their new puppy. I'm not kidding. She even sent me a picture of the puppy. I still can't believe how common this kind of pain is. And yet, the amount of love I received restored some of my faith in humanity. It's been almost 2 years now. It feels like forever ago, and also like yesterday. Okay. On to the update. I'll start with the bad news. Kai and I had a massive falling out. I won't go into every detail or this will turn into a 30-page essay, but the short version is, we were basically living like a unit. Neighbors, roommates, shared routines, shared groceries, shared responsibilities. We always knew where the other was, not in a controlling way, just because we lived side by side. At some point, Kai told me he was going on a date. Cool. I was genuinely happy for him. At the time, I was still deep in my divorce. Emotionally wrecked. Dating wasn't even on my radar. Kai and Marie never married, so their breakup was easier than mine, but still painful. He went on one date, then a second, and then nothing. A week passed. No word. I casually asked what happened. He said she ghosted him. Another week later, out of nowhere, one evening he drops a bomb. He's dating Marie. Yeah. I know. Wild. He told me this while sitting on the couch, crying like a child. And I couldn't help but feel bad for him. Healing from destroyed relationships isn't easy. He said those dates helped him realize it was really over between them. He described it like this, and I might be paraphrasing, when he first met Marie, she was the sweet girl next door. Polite smile. Retail worker manners. As he got to know her, he discovered this fun, free-spirited side, the version he fell in love with. But when he saw her again recently, it was like she'd gone back to factory settings. That hit him hard. It felt like going backwards. Like everything had been for nothing. After 2 dates, he didn't just ghost her, he blocked her everywhere. Listening to this was hard. It mirrored my own story a little too closely. But I comforted him and tried to move on. A few quiet months passed. In that time, Kai basically turned me into a gym person. If you reread my old posts, it's funny how skeptical I was about working out. Then, after a couple of peaceful months, Kai announced another date. This time with a friend of a friend. I said the usual, nice. Go for it. I was still angry at the world, still divorcing, still not dating. Because of how we lived, we naturally noticed each other's schedules. So when Kai started leaving the house at 2 p.m. and coming back around 8, with dates lasting that long or longer, I noticed. I didn't say anything. I assumed he was just really into her. But it kept happening. He even asked me to run small errands for him because he knew he wouldn't be back in time due to his dates. Eventually, I met her. Her name was Grace. Mid-20s. Very sweet. Also a teacher, elementary school. We got along. At that point, everything seemed fine. Kai and Grace looked adorable together. Summer passed. I finalized my divorce. But those dates were endless. Even quick ones lasted 3 to 4 hours. He was constantly gone. Finally, I gently brought it up. Kai said Grace usually picked the places, and they were apparently an hour or two away with traffic. I asked where Grace lived. Maybe they were meeting halfway. He said, very casually, I don't really know. And that's when my alarm bells went off. Maybe I'd read too many cheating stories, but something felt off. They'd been dating for months. She'd eaten dinner at our place multiple times. She was friends with someone we both knew. And yet he didn't know where she lived, and all their dates were far away. That made zero sense. This is where I admit I crossed a line. I went on Instagram. Typed her name. And boom. Grace. In a wedding dress. With a guy named Mike. Photo from 2019. She was married. Holy shit. I immediately ran to wake Kai up. Midnight. Work in the morning. I know. Bad move. I burst into his room, waving my phone like a lunatic. Absolute chaos. When I finally stopped talking, Kai exploded. Pure rage. He demanded to know why I was meddling in his relationship. When I explained my concerns, he got even angrier. It turned into a full-blown screaming match. He said I crossed boundaries. Which, may be partly true. But we lived together and always knew what was going on in each other's lives. I asked why he was so angry when I was clearly just worried. That's when he dropped the next bomb. He accused me of having feelings for him. Said he'd felt for a while that our relationship crossed into something more. That I was stalking him. I completely lost it. I said things I regret. Threw Marie in his face. Told him I wouldn't date him for $1 million. He yelled back. Insults flew. I left. Everything fell apart overnight. The next morning, he woke me up before work. I thought he'd cooled off and wanted to apologize. Instead, he told me the truth. Kai knew Grace was married almost from the start. He didn't care. Grace told him she felt nothing for her husband anymore. Suddenly the long drives made sense. I asked how he'd feel if Marie's affair partners knew she was engaged and slept with her anyway. He yelled at me not to bring Marie into it. Another argument. He admitted he didn't tell me because he knew I'd react badly. I said cheating is deeply triggering for me, and I assumed it would be for him too. He flat out said it wasn't. Then he said living with me was basically like being in a relationship, and I had no right to interfere in his private life. I told him fine. Date whoever you want. I just wanted him to understand he was helping someone cheat. He said he didn't care and left for work. I'm not his mother. I wasn't trying to control him. I just didn't want to be close to someone who justified cheating, especially after everything we'd both been through. I didn't have to move out immediately. He was kind enough not to kick me out. But the atmosphere was cold. Tense. I lost respect for him. He kept dating Grace. Still believed I had feelings for him. Eventually, I packed up and moved in with an acquaintance. It turned out to be for the best, even though it was far from work. Now, briefly, about my ex-husband. Not long after our divorce finalized, he got engaged again. Around that same time, after my move, I hit rock bottom. Work stress. Panic about AI and student assignments. New place. No support system. I felt lonely. Drained. Tried dating a bit, everything was painfully mediocre. Which somehow made me feel even lonelier. I wouldn't go back to that time for anything. Then my ex reached out. Told me about his engagement. His great new life. His journey of self-improvement. Said he wanted to apologize properly. Asked to meet, not a date, nothing expected. I should have said no. But I was exhausted. I agreed. At first, it was calm. Small talk. He apologized. Then he started probing. How was I doing? I downplayed it, I'm okay, managing. But he caught on. That's when that smug Cheshire Cat grin appeared. He started bragging. New fiancé. Ring. Amazing life. Said his life was better than ever, and our breakup was a blessing in disguise. That hurt. Badly. Hearing that years I poured into us were just a burden to him felt like a knife to the chest. Eventually, I made an excuse and left. I wasn't invited to the wedding. We're not friends now. I deeply regret agreeing to meet him. It sent me spiraling again. But life is weird. After many months of dragging myself forward, I finally went on another date. I was thinner. Pale. Tired. Convinced I looked awful. And somehow, that's when I met my current boyfriend. Chase. 29, he is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Patient. Kind. Talkative. Alive. I used to be the loud, joking one in relationships. I thought I wanted someone to balance me. Turns out, I wanted someone who meets me where I am. Thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments how you would have handled this situation. Sending hugs. See you next time.